the Rhyme. And at this point, you got to figure if they've got themselves in a pretty good position, because Cloud9, when it comes time for them to ban, they can only ban either the Black Feather or the Lyra here, and Hammers are going to be able to take the other.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they ban Vox and then try to first pick the Black Feather, just because at that point you have removed 4 of Old School's top heroes. The only thing you're leaving open is the Adagio. The Rhyme pick, I like it quite a bit. And now the question is whether Cruel is going to be picked up for I Love Joseph to counter it.
They're going to grab themselves the Lyra just to make sure that they get that captain and have a counter pick available for their final pick. Or, as we've seen a lot of teams do, just not necessarily a counter pick, but just making sure that they're not picking into a counter, taking away the counter pick option for their opponents. So Lyra is still one of the top tier captains, still one of the captains that every team is more than happy to end up with on their side. So Cloud9 really need to figure out some way to deal with this Rhyme, but not too many teams have been able to do that on this update. We saw the 60% win rate for Rhyme. That's for this season. On this update, I don't know if Rhyme has actually lost a game. It's something I'd have to double check, but it has been a very strong pick. Cloud9 going back to the Fortress.
It has been a very strong pick. I'm not sure I would be willing to commit to that statement quite without checking the stats. I feel like he's probably lost a couple of games, but I mean, we've seen Rhyme versus Black Feather, and I don't think Black Feather's lost. But
the question here,
Fortress comes out.
Yeah, the question here is whether they're going to go for the Adagio or something like a Saw. Ringo is still open. Sky Weapon Power is the answer. I mean, Old School has played it in the past, and he's played it very well, but we have not seen it too often lately. They could still play the Sky CP, and it would work really well against the Rhyme also.
I know you're happy about the Sky picks. It's something I think you've asked for about 4 or 5 times just
only
today.
if it's CP.
But we'll see how it's going to perform here for Cloud9 against a Saw. 4 starting all over. Saw and Rhyme. This is a scary looking team that Hammers have put together.
Imagine 2 updates ago if you told me that Saw and Rhyme were going to be 2 of the top picks on the map. I wouldn't have believed you, quite simply. But here we are in this update, and Saw is going to be locked on in. How are we expecting this game to pan out, lads?
I mean, Hammer's going to play so aggressive to try to shut down this Fortress before he gets rolling, before he picks up his Aftershock, and they have the tools to do it. Saw has incredible lane pushing ability, as we know, and Rhyme also can apply a lot of jungle pressure.
Yeah, it's a really, really hard aggression early on composition, and this is what Hammers are known for. This is when they perform the best, is when they can bring this all-out aggression early on in the game. So Cloud9 better be prepared.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that as well, because this is something we usually know Cloud9 for when it comes into these games, is being the aggressive team, making sure to put their mark on the game. At what point do we expect Cloud9 to be able to fight back in this one? Just very quickly.
It's going to be around level 6 to 8 if they're able to survive.
All right, we'll see if they can survive that early game and get on into this one. Let us know who you are supporting. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter. Is this a Cloud9 game or is it going to Hammers? Let us know. But it's time to get on into our second semi-final of North America and pass it to our casters.
Thanks, guys, once again for your beautiful analysis. And now, game number 1, Cloud9, Hammers. Cloud9, let's get into this one. And we got a Fortress. We saw TSM play it yesterday to somewhat varying success. Now Cloud9 is on Joseph, a very aggressive early game jungler. We'll see how it works out this time, coming up against that Rhyme.
Ooh, the flanking from Gabe Vizzle. This could be bad for starting all over.
Ooh, I like it. He does go straight in, although this Winter Spy is doing a lot of damage early on. They're going to focus starting all over. The reposition from Old School is really good. Can he find the kill? Yes, he can. Go Vizzle picks up first blood for Cloud9, but they're still on the hunt. Status going really, really low. Vanguard onto Joseph to keep him alive at the moment, but that Sigil only just missing, and Status just trying to kill Old School. Repositions, but they ended up trading. Joseph again might just trade another kill here if he's not careful. Chicken, and one more basic attack will finish him off, but Vanguard leading to safety.
A 2-for-1 in favor of Cloud9. That's definitely good to get. I love Joseph rolling a little chicken. He's going a little deep to try and pick up that final kill. I love Joseph will back with the 2 assists. 1-1-1 for Old School, 1-0-1 for Gabe Vizzle. A good way to start things off. And that might give Old School enough, a little bit of early extra damage to be able to survive this lane up against starting all over on the Saw, and both teams instantly popping the minion candy, because starting all over, he wants to push things up under the tower, and Old School wants the opposite.
Sense that a mobile turret that is Saw. It always kind of scares me a little bit when he's rotating so quickly, and I'm like, how? You're not physically a machine, or is he? I don't know. In the cyborg skin, I guess he is actually a machine rather than man. Status now just farming away on the fronts of Cloud9. Is going to find a little bit of CS there, and they're going to push up to the turret just where they like it. But Gabe Bizzle says not today, but starting all over. Already chunking that turret down to about 3/4 HP. Old School has hasn't got a real answer right now. Gabe Bizzle going very low. They're going to spin up the guns, and that bright bulwark is going to stop the advances of Cloud9 for now. Back to reposition from Old School. He's going to run straight into Status. Status going to pop the boots as well. Old School was overstepped completely, and Status evens the kill lead up 2-2.
Yeah, starting all over. I thought that he had gone a little bit too deep, but Old School is the one who ends up getting punished for his aggression. He's got 2 minion candies in hand, so he's prepared to do things out in this lane. That will even up the gold a little bit. Still slight advantage for Cloud9, but it is nothing to write home about. And now the question is how much value has I Love Joseph gotten in the meantime? He's cleared a couple of camps. He's not that much further ahead of the Rhyme. And so now that Rhyme has picked up the additional kill, he's going to be online probably about the same time as I Love Joseph. The question is going to become, will Cloud9 get value off of that first item spike? And I don't think it's going to happen because I Love Joseph has gone into the Stormguard banner.
Man, that jump in completely denied by the Bright Bulwark. Chicken doing his job perfectly. And you aren't half wrong. He's got the Dragon Blood contract though for the early game aggression, but it's going to delay his power spike going for that banner. Starting all over, takes a nasty bite, but he's just going to brush the wolf off for the time being. Cloud9, they do regain control of the lane, but Hammers, they're going to see quite shortly they're going to recontrol completely because Status is moving up towards them now, and this is going to be the issue. If they can get that turret down in under 5 minutes, Cloud9 have got some serious work to do. The analyst said they're going to come online at level 6, but that is a little way away just yet.
Yeah, and the problem is there's no minion way for them to use that minion candy sitting in Old School's inventory on. So much value onto this turret. Bright Bulwark is going to come out and slow down the engagement. We'll see whether or not C9 can actually get anything off of this as Old School starts taking a lot of damage.
Status going very low. Yeah, it does have to use that sigil actually to get the speed boost away. Old School was taking a majority of that damage as well for Cloud9. And Hammers, they do end up just resetting as the jungle intensifies.
Yeah, now another minion candy has been used by the side of Hammers. They've been able to keep the pressure on this lane for a while, and still Old School is holding both of those minion candies. So just hasn't found a time where he feels confident that he needs to use that. Maybe he's looking for the double stacked wave. I'm just not sure starting the level is going to give him the opportunity and time to do that. Old School now has the Sorrow Blade, so he's got significant damage, and we've seen that when starting all over setting up on this turret push, there's a lot of damage coming back out from Old School. He is trying to punish him for standing there and just being, wailing on the turret, but he has to do it he's gonna have to bring down starting all over very quickly. He has not used one of those 2 minion candies, but the wave, it's cleared out, Status is here, and I think this turret is likely to go down. They're gonna need I Love Joseph to show up soon, and he's a little bit slower on the rotation.
Yeah, that he is. He hasn't even got boots, so even slower than you'd normally expect. Valkyrie's going to come out and just dissuade Old School for the time being. Joseph is going to jump in, and that's actually going to be a kill straight onto the Rhyme. Status ends up falling down as they do go for the aggressive turret dive, and now starting all overs in the front line. So is going to be there to heal him up, but the mobile turret was a little bit too slow for Joseph, and Joseph picks up the kill. They do trade 2 for 1 in that overall exchange, however.
Value on that Book of Eulogies and starting all over his inventory gave him that 1 auto attack lifesteal to be able to survive long enough to bring down Old School, because I thought Old School, when he stepped up to that, he was going to dish out just the necessary auto attack to bring down starting all over. Game's still fairly even between these two teams. Less than 100 gold separates them despite there being a kill, so we can see how much value has been gained off of just the pressure up in the lane, and what that is translated into in terms of Status stealing away, or at least getting both of those middle tree ends. Now we see starting Lover. He's back and he's ready to roll. He's ready to sit in front of this turret and dish out the damage. Level 6 is in for 2 of the members of Hammers, and they're going to walk away with this turret for free. Gabe Bizzle will have to sprint his way out of there. He's got I Love Joseph to back him up. And now we see Cloud9. First turret's down. Where do they go from here? How do they find a team fight? Actually, they just engage.
Yeah, they're just going to want to go for a team fight right now. They answered your question for you. Gauntlet's going to get down by Gabe Bizzle. We're starting all over, spinning up, and the Valkyrie's going to hit directly on top of Old School, stunning him, and that does result in a kill. However, Status will get traded for that one once again. Hammers, they at least walk away with the kill on Old School, which again means they get priority in the lane here, Source.
Yeah, they're fine with these trades. I Love Joseph isn't as much of a significant damage dealer. He's not a major threat to starting all over. I don't think that him and Gabe Vizzle can just instantly dive onto the Saw and bring him down, even with the Aftershock in I Love Joseph's inventory. So the moment they take Old School out of these fights, pretty much every fight is going to result in lane priority for the side of Hammers, but they're going to engage on a starting all over.
Oh, three-man dive, starting all over, does get the roll away, but the death from above doesn't quite connect, but they're more determined than that. They end up just killing him off, and now it's up to Status to try and find Old School. He gets him with the Winter Spire. The Valkyrie wasn't even off cooldown. He still managed to almost one-shot Old School. He's starting to get stacked up himself with that Shatterglass in his inventory.
Yeah, Glass Cannon, Old School plus Shatterglass Status equals. Status is going to bring down Old School pretty much instantly. Now a little bit more pressure coming out from Hammers. They're pretty much keeping a pace with Cloud9. Every time Cloud9 tries to take things up a notch, put that instant aggression onto one of the members of Hollywood Hammers, they're able to answer back fairly quickly and kind of cut that momentum in half. So despite Cloud9, they're getting kills. They're up 1 kill. They're starting to fall behind in gold. They're not able to convert that into significant objectives. Now we've got a double wave that has been minion candied. Old School is going to try and clear this out. Gabe Vizzle is trying to pull the minions away, but I'm not sure that's going to work. And the Gauntlet got stopped.
Nice use of the death from above as well. That's actually beautiful from Old School. Still gets stunned up by the Valkyrie, however. Joseph going fairly low as well. His starter Status just destroying the front line. Those Winter Spires, connection after connection. And they'll be starting all over now, just disintegrating this turret. There it goes down. Second one off the field now for Cloud9. 8 minutes and 30 seconds in. Cloud9, a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah, this draft is looking to be a little bit lacking for the side of Cloud9 just because they gave away priority picks. As far as their draft goes, it has a clear strategy. It's got multiple win conditions. They can either gain value off of Old School being able to kite throughout the fights. They spiral things out of control with Joseph on the Fortress, and he's able to just set them up for early jungle invades. But Status is on the Rhyme, so he's gonna have great control of the jungle and be able to push anybody who goes in there. Starting all over is on the Saw, so his lane control is massive, and Hammers have just gotten 2 major priority picks that it makes it difficult for Cloud9 to really execute any of those strategies that they want. And now that the team fights are starting to get rolling, kills are even, but the gold is clearly in favor of Hammers, and things might start to spiral even further out of control as Starting All Over's now got that first Tyrant's monocle in hand. He's going to start to get crits off of all of that damage that he's already outputting.
They did stall at the gold mine, but decided against it for the moment. As they did spot Cloud9 just pushing in the lane. Just means Starting's going to rotate, spin up his gun and clear the wave right under about a second. Those crits, like you said, are really going to start to hurt now. And all Hammers want to do is just get lane priority. They don't want to fight in the jungle. They just want to be able to protect Starling. And Chicken, kind of an unsung hero at the time being, has been doing just that. As soon as Cloud9 go for these big engages, that bright bulwark comes out, hinders a lot of that mobility, and just allows Starting all over to get those free hitting basic attacks down. Although his scoreline doesn't quite appease it just yet, Source. Later on in the game, his damage numbers are going to start to rack up when he does get that 3rd damage item on board.
And we saw a Lyra Saw composition in the previous set. But the moment that they came through, there was this instant crowd control that came out from Tri to be able to shut that down. Dienzio was there with a weapon power caster and was able to just instantly stun and then burst. Now that you've got the Rhyme involved, that Rhyme's going to go in. It makes it difficult for anybody to stay and kind of stand there and fight and dish out that damage. You have to be worried about the Winter Spire's instant engage.
Instant engage. That Gauntlet's going to get completely blocked. However, the passageway just sent him to safety. Status is going to, Starting all over, is going to be able to use that to get away, but he ends up going down anyway. But they're still going to chase it down at Old School, however, but Status just cannot close the gap on him. Cloud9, although mobility is really paying off right now. Old School just trying to take out Status. Does end up taking him down in the end, but Cloud9, they find it their comeuppance, even though that Gauntlet just got denied.
Great pressure from Cloud9 and just that snap decision making. It let them get a lot of good initial damage in, and then Old School was building up the breaking point stack. So they're gonna look for these longer, more extended team fights, but it has to come in with a punch. They need to put a lot of pressure on a Starting All Over so he's forced out of the fight, because Old School on this weapon power sky, he can kite while doing damage, and he's very difficult to pin down. If Starting All Over is forced away from the fight, or is at least not able to just kind of stand there and shoot Old School as he's bouncing around the fight and pretty much dodging up the damage from Status, it means that the stacks are going to build up for the side of Cloud9, and then their go out strategy is going to start to come together. And we saw in that team fight when starting all over was pretty much isolated from the team. He took a bunch of damage initially and then couldn't follow up on it. It didn't matter that the gauntlet didn't really connect. Stats didn't get there in time.
The Bright Bulwark's going to be used this time more aggressively. Passageway is going to get followed up. Starting all over had a little bit of trouble actually getting through it in the end. Attack of the back and the Gauntlet's going to get opened up. And now Starting is in a lot of trouble. Does get stunned. Does manage to commando roll out of there though. Joseph is going to chase him up. Has he got the damage to deal with him? He does unleash the hail of bullets and he ends up going down as well. So in the 1v1, Joseph can take him out if he gets the time. Chicken now running away. Very little energy. Same with Status. Are going to be able to escape for the time being, but the key target for Cloud9 has already been killed, and that's Starting.
Yeah, they've managed to bring down the turret pretty much instantly, and they're getting a lot of good initial burst damage, even if the death from above from Old School doesn't necessarily connect. We saw when they made that dive under the first turret, when they got that kind of first aggressive tempo style kill, they used it for zoning. It's making it difficult for Status to move throughout the fights, and Chicken is pretty much doing everything that he can to try and keep Starting all over alive. It's just the healing isn't going to get that much value with the Mortal Wound from I Love Joseph, and Cloud9 are starting to be able to really set the pace for the game and make it so that even when it looks like there's going to end up being a solid setup for the side of Hollywood Hammers, that they're jumping them just before everything is in place. The Hollywood Hammers are getting things close, but Cloud9 aren't letting them actually set up the siege, set up the poke, set up, the initial turret that saw.
And Roadie Run is really hindering him at the moment. He's not mispositioning with it because he needs to be able to get out the initial all-in engage from coming out of Cloud9, but he isolates himself where Chicken can't help him, and that just leaves Joseph a lot of time, and he has got that Aftershock as well as the Atlas Pauldrons to deal with him. He is sitting on 1 of 5 and he's got double monocle, so right now is his time to shine. But can he just get set up like the turret he needs to be? Or does Gabe Vizzle want to interrupt that? That's going to be a gauntlet, but the passageway is going to lead them all to safety for the time being. Old School going to jump to the back line, and Starting all over goes extremely low and just absolutely evaporates Old School. Joseph's going to be able to get the return kill on to Starting all over. They trade 1 for 1 for the time being. More than Cloud9 can hope for right now. Status will be chasing up Gabe Vizzle. Joseph is going to be there just for the help with Vanguard. So Hammers, C9, they're still even, fighting tooth and nail in this game.
Yeah, that was a better response from Chicken in the positioning of the Arcane Passage. They managed to get out of there the moment that Old School went very deep into the back line. He was pretty much, a full screen away from the rest of his team, but he was trying to put pressure onto Starting all over. But Starting all over had already gotten through the portal and set himself up. He was at the edge of the portal, and Old School is trying to kite around the edges of the team fight. He's trying to dish out damage while avoiding being pinned down by Status, because he knows if he does, then Starting all over is going to rip him apart. But because Starting all over was already through the portal, and they made that defensive call very quickly from the side of Hollywood Hammers, Starting all over had the space to be able to significantly dish out damage. Yes, he was standing there and getting chomped on by Fortress. I Love Joseph was dishing out significant damage. It was still enough for Hammers to take an even team fight. Maybe the next time, if Status is able to kind of answer the pressure that's being put onto Starting all over and actually put some damage on I Love Joseph, maybe Hammers actually survive that fight entirely and the Saw manages to make it through.
Kraken now being started up by Hammers. However, I think it was just a little bit of a mistap. Kraken does end up resetting completely. Now, status, one of those two.
Can confirm status.
Can confirm status. Okay, it's like Munch said on the desk. It's so hard. It's so inbuilt in me to say the other one. But status. He's got even part of this, so the sustain is there for his build, but itemizing more towards defensive now just to make sure Old School isn't dealing a whole absolute ton of damage to him. Old School right now sitting on 3 damage items with that breaking point, Poison Shiv, and that Sorrow Blade. He's doing a whole lot of work in these fights, and his mobility is really what hinders Status right now. That Kraken's getting started up, and when you've got a Saw on your team, it sure does drop quickly as well. Gauntlet comes out from Gabe Vizzle. There's another passageway to lead Status starting all over to safety, but they need to get Joseph off him as well. Just get rooted up by the Rhyme, and he's still trying to roadie run out of there. Can't get spun up quick enough, and Joseph will take him out. And now Chicken trying to heal up the Rhyme with the Sigil, but can he 1v3? That's the big question. I don't think so, because Lyra's already dead, although he is chasing down, and Joseph is going very low with Old School almost out of HP as well. Joseph very low on energy, although that Treant will be stolen. They still need to deal with that Kraken marching on their base. Status can't get and stop the recalls.
That was a great team fight from Cloud9, and I love where the Death from Above was positioned. It wasn't there to actually get the kill onto starting all over, but it slowed down Status and let them all just bypass him. The entire front line was just ignored from the side of Hollywood Hammers. Cloud9 ran right past them, put the pressure on starting all over. Starting all over, he got very far away. That started in the tri-bush of Cloud9. That was where they were posted up from the side of Hollywood Hammers and finishing off that Kraken, and they chased them all the way to that Crystal Sentry. So that was a long run team fight, and well played by Cloud9 to make use of the attack of the pack and the Death from Above to just kind of control the space that Hollywood Hammers had to move through.
Cloud9, they are starting to bite back. Hammers, they still have the turret advantage with absolutely none of theirs being destroyed yet, but you can kind of imagine that is because of the Saw initially. Cloud9's base is completely open, but it's a lot closer than the turrets do tell. There's only 600 gold in it as well, with Cloud9 just inching ahead. And now Hammers, they only need one more team fight to go in their favour to realistically end the game with a Saw and a Rhyme. It's all up to Cloud9 now to be able to contest these major objectives, because they haven't been able to even out push Vision Source. They can't put that Scout Trap. They can't put any Vision like the flares or anything to clear out some of the Hammers either, because they haven't had the priority in the lane because of this Saw pushing up consistently.
Yeah, but they are getting closer to having all of the tools that they need. They've got the double war treads, so their mobility is there. They're a fast-moving team, even when you don't end up using Attack of the Pack. They've also got the Echo onto Gabe Vizzle, so the double gauntlet is there. He's going to use the first one, he'll use the second.
Gauntlet's going to come in, passageway is going to get taken, or at least they're trying to block starting all over, and they're doing a fantastic job of it as well. He's going to be able to really run and take the passageway anyway, but he's already on the back line and couldn't even get spun up in time, and Old School sends him straight back to the base. Gabe Vizzle's out of the fight already. Death from Above is going to come down a little bit wide, but they do manage to split Chicken up from Status. He ends up falling here now. War Treads is going to get popped as well. They're going to try and find the ace, or at least try and find a turret here, because the Death Timers, they're starting to get long.
That body blocking was great from the side of Cloud9. Also, Old School jukes out the Valkyrie, baits it out from Status, and goes instantly into the portal. The Arcane Passage is a great engage and disengage tool, but you have to remember your enemies can take it as well, and where you position around that is key. They got everybody through it, and then just starting all over couldn't follow up with the rest of his team. And so team fight goes in favor of Cloud9. They're much closer to getting Old School to that final build. He's working on that Bone Saw to add a little bit more attack speed to what he has going. He's done a very good job of putting the Mortal Wound onto starting all over, so following up with that with Joseph, and it doesn't feel like Chicken is getting a whole lot done. He's got Atlas Pauldron, he's got the Crucible, he's got the Fountain, he's got War Treads. It doesn't feel like any of those activatable items are having that much of an impact, whereas on the other side, Cloud9, they're popping, double War Treads in the middle of a fight, plus Attack of the Pack, the Engage Gauntlet from Gabe Vizzle. There's so much being used by them to just constantly put pressure on the side of Hammers, and Hammers are slowly starting to be pushed back from this aggressive standpoint that they've had, where they had control over the map, but the gold lead and the kills are starting to fall in favor of Cloud9.
Tier 3 boots might be quite an important pickup here for starting in order to actually get him out of the fights rather quickly. Speaking about getting out of fights, Cloud9 want to get in one. Death from Above will come down. Valkyrie actually doesn't manage to slow up Joseph, but it wouldn't be enough. Old School found himself in a perfect position, straight on the back line, starting all over, melts in front of his 4th barrage, and now Lyra is the last one alive, and a double kill goes over to Old School, and that's going to be a Kraken now for Cloud9. That fight was quicker than if you just blink.
Optimal positioning from Cloud9 on every single skill shot they fired out. The double gauntlet semicircles, that Venn diagram was beautiful. doing all of the geometry along with a perfectly placed death from above in that exact angle to be able to hit onto 2 targets. Cloud9 just threw out all of their massive team fight abilities, and every single ability landed and was executed at the right position.
As quick as a flash.
Took him to old school took him to math class. It was beautiful.
Took him to math class, taught him geometry. I didn't do too well on geometry. Thank God we've got old school here. Maybe he can teach you some later. Kraken now is going to start opening up the base for Hammers. And this is the position they didn't want to be in. Starting all over had cracked so many turrets. And now they are on the opposite end of this Kraken. Cloud9 have got that gauntlet available, and that echo is up in 20 seconds time as well. But Cloud9, they're happy with the turret takes, and they just decide to back off. Kraken not too healthy anymore, will end up going down without any causing further damage.
Ooh, and Gabe Vizzle's also now picked up the Null Wave Gauntlet. So Chicken already not getting as much value off of some of those activatable items. The Gauntlet the Crucible hasn't been there to counter out the Gauntlet or any of the Death from Aboves, and now they're looking to just shut that down even further. They can also use that to cut off Starting All Over's ability to retreat. He's got his tier 3 boots, he's got his Aegis, he's even picked up a second reflex block. He is so scared of the crowd control that's coming up from the side of Cloud9. They throw a No Wave Gauntlet onto him, and none of that is there. He is even more of a sitting duck than a Saw already is, and let's be honest, Saw is a sitting duck to dive compositions to begin with.
Yeah. He is a turret, after all. He is no man, he is but machine, like Terminator. He is a lowly turret, and Old School is making quick, sharp work with him. This full dive comp from Cloud9, wanting to get on the back line, is doing just that. You can see by the scoreline is starting 2-9 right now. No matter the damage he's outputting, if he can't survive a mere fraction of a second in these fights, he's not going to be able to do all too much to Cloud9's front line. They've taken an aggressive stance in the lane, now forcing Hammers to recall here, and they're going to be able to, although maybe not actually. I take that completely back. Hammers are actually just going to go for this fight. There's going to be a passageway in. Death and Rubb's going to come down straight on top of the end of the passage. That's going to be really big. We're starting all over, surviving the fight, and that's what they needed. Gabe Vizzle is now going to get chased out by the rest of Hammers as Old School has already fallen. Gauntlet to get a little bit of space, but Status is going to be able to chase him down. Hammers, they finally find the fight they wanted and take out 2 members of Cloud9. If he can finally kill Gabe Vizzle, there we go. He finally hit the Winter Spire. He hit the Winter Spire on a non-moving target. He got there in the end.
Yeah, it took a couple of tries, but Hammers find themselves a team fight, which they have been unable to do for most of this game. It's been just engage after engage after engage from Cloud9, constantly picking up the pace. That didn't look like it was going to turn into a team fight. It didn't seem that Chicken would go for the arcane passage and actually make that happen. Now, 14 seconds on Old School. Either Joseph is going to try and slow them down as best he can, but this could be Hammers taking this game. This is a dangerous moment. The first turret will go down fairly quickly. 4 seconds on Old School. They won't have Gabe Vizzle. That is taking a lot of damage. He's dead.
Taking too much damage. He's dead. The turret actually finished him off. Chicken has still got a passageway to use. They used the Echo a second ago. Death and Rub comes down, but Joseph, Old School, undeterred it seems, just takes down the Saw regardless. Chicken is going to get chased up here as long death timers on the side of Hammers right now. He needs to be able to survive for long enough, but that mortal wound will cut him through, and that'll be Cloud9 finding the ace. The Lyra falls, and they're going to push towards the base.
Oh, and they should easily be able to do this just because the instant attack speed that comes out of Old School is already significantly higher, and nobody's going to be up in time. Eyeless Joseph was already there. He was kind of there for the stall. He was there to make them fear going in onto these turrets. Just for a couple of seconds. 15 seconds before status is up, this is game over, and Cloud9 have turned things back after just a small positioning mistake from Status, but it cost them everything.
Status is back up now, but the Gauntlet will just separate him. Cloud9, after only having 2 turrets remaining versus Hammers, have come back completely and smashed the Crystal. They're going to take game at number 1, and that was Hammers, just with a very proactive plays, just not being able to hold together that Saw in the later game.
Yeah, Old School with 12, 7, and 7. Yeah, he